Here we are into game 2 of Lions, aka BMG, versus We Fight for Tupac. Apparently, he needs to be defended even after his death, so they're doing that for him. Very nice. And of course, game 1 went to Lions as they took a fairly convincing win in terms of, yeah, we're just never going to lose these games. But, We Fight for Tupac pushed that to over 50 minutes. Usually you wouldn't expect that sort of thing from Lions here. Now, they're missing two players. They're missing both Hanskin and Jonas Fan, so Fuzi's doing the drafting here. From that perspective, it's like, yeah, I guess that's not that big a deal, because there's really three members of Lions, not five members of Lions, and usually you wouldn't think, hey, they can replace a couple members here and just be totally fine. On the other hand, they were never, for a lot of that game, they weren't like convincingly and obviously ahead. They sort of took it to the late game where their BH and Hag carry could destroy the opposing Nomad, who was really the only damage dealer on the other team. But it took them, I think, perhaps a little too long to win that game, considering what should be the skill difference between these two teams. And that, Lions BMG is one of the top two teams in HoN, and We Fight for Tupac is not. And certainly not particularly close to that, I would say. Certainly a very solid team just to be here in Diamond and playing Lions, but not quite up to the mark of Lions or SG or Reason or something like that. So you'd certainly expect to see a little more dominant performance from Lions this game. And you would have expected it last game, but you wouldn't have found it. So we'll see if We Fight for Tupac is going to regress here and Lions is going to find their footing, or if things are going to get really interesting and the Legion side could possibly even take a game in this series. Or win it. Wouldn't that be shocking? Hey, it happened to SG before, right? They just dropped a game to Happy Fire Friends. I was like, oh my god, SG lost a game. That was a big thing back then. And now they've been consistently losing cycles, so... Anyway, bans are out. Pestilence, Moon Queen, Wretched Hag, and Sandwraith. So lots of short lane bans, of course. MQ, Sandwraith definitely both fill that role, and Fuzi does not want to give up those short lane heroes. Once again, same thing as last game, just banning out his heroes. It's very strange, because normally he would be playing that short lane carry role, and he's just like, nope, not going to let them go through. I don't want them. Going to ban him out. Hag certainly fitting that mold a little bit too. Obviously, very possible to be playing it as Super Suicide role, as she was last game by Super KG of all people, and ended up having a pretty solid game, getting that Grimoire, and then it just turns into massive farm for Hag. Pesty also banned out by the Legion side, no shock there. He almost never actually makes it through the second picking stage. He's either banned or picked in the first 6 picks and 4 bans. Here we're not going to see him at all. It's too bad. We did last game with, again, playing that Pesty, did it very well, and We Fight for Tupac, feeling like, don't want to deal with that again. Instead, they will have to deal with Ophelia, on top of 2 more heroes that we haven't picked up yet, but Oph, nonetheless, a very strong first pick. Tons of gank potential, strong push, and we just see her favored consistently over the Tempest, and banned out if she's not picked very quickly, so not surprised to see her selected initially here, as Torture is going to be the second pick for Lions, so clearly valuing that Torturer support. Last game they put it together too with Seal Kid playing that Tort, and second pick Torturer support? Okay. He's really powerful, there's no doubt about that, especially at zoning suicides. I'm just not convinced he is the best support in the game, and oh my god, we gotta pick him super fast, because I guess Engineer did get taken by the Legion side, but Rhapsody's still there. I think Witch Slayer has a lot of potential. Empath, certainly up there. I mean, Torture is no doubt a very good support, but I'm not convinced he's the best support that we have to pick super early. Engineer at this point is, because it's before the previous patch. Of course, this is Diamond Cycle 9. And he will be first picked here by the Legion side, followed up by Corrupted Disciple and Parasite, so Lions jungler will not be the only one in the game, as the Legion side also choosing to run a jungler of their own. Of course, last game it was Parasite for Lions and Tempest for We Fight for Tupac. That's a very long name to say. It's extremely annoying. But, hey, they've chosen to name themselves that. Stop it. Anyway. Parasite's certainly a strong jungler and is pretty good at messing with Ophelia, as of course he can take over her creeps. But not really up there, I think, when you're trying to deal with an Ophelia, I think Tempest is a better hero to pull out with that, just because Parasite doesn't farm as well in the jungle as Tempest does, and Tempest actually outfarms Ophelia for that matter. They're both strong gankers, perhaps Parasite a little more so at the early levels. Ophelia, once she gets 2 or 3 creeps, I think it starts to outstrip Parasite in terms of the lockdown potential. Parasite does tend to provide a little more burst damage though, so you know, it depends on what kind of ganking you want, whether you want the stuns or you want the burst. Ideally you'd get both, but very few heroes bring stuns and burst, as that's pretty annoying and broken. But Ravener going to be the last pick up here by Lions, as they actually banned that out in the previous game, so curious. Certainly when he played in that mid lane, and you would expect Super KG to pick it up, but I think considering he played the Suicide role last game, he'll probably be on that role once again, and again will be playing the Ravener. So right now I'm thinking Torture Ravener middle lane, Ophelia in the jungle, and they're looking for a Suicide and a short laner. And the Legion side, of course, has that Corrupted Disciple to put in a short lane, as it's possible to see a Suicide CD. We've seen that before, but I really, really doubt it, and I hope it doesn't happen, because I think Jonas Fayed has made it work a couple of times, but I'm not really a big fan of it in general. And I think it's very, very situational when you want to take that Corrupted Disciple and put him in Suicide, because he's pretty vulnerable in that role. Conduit will help him a lot, especially when it comes to last hitting, but, you know, he has no stun, he has no escape mechanism, he has no slow even, so little risky there if he gets dove a couple of times, especially if he's been playing up against a tri-lane or a pseudo-tri-lane runner, a particularly aggressive dual lane. As the second stage of bans is finished, Keeper of the Forest, Warbeast, and Balfagor banned out here by the We Fight for Tupac side, getting rid of a couple of the Suicides, and theoretically Balfagor as well, as we've seen him played in the Suicide role. I'm not a really big fan of that, but you could do it. Also potentially a short laner here for Lions. And they're looking, obviously, for a short laner and a Suicide, so both of those heroes would be considered by them. Legion also looking for a Suicide, presumably, so taking some of their own options out there, as is Fuzi, Bubbles, Rally, and Kraken banned out, so all 3 of those heroes are really mids or Suicides. Kraken could also be running the short lane, we've seen that occasionally, but most of the time run in the mid or the Suicide role, so Fuzi's saying, hey, you need a mid, and you need a Suicide, you need something to pair with that Engineer, and I'm just going to remove a bunch of heroes that fill both of those roles. So, certainly strong bans there from Fuzi, making a ton of sense. And Legion will respond to that nice display of brilliance and awareness of where the draft is going with a Midas pick, which is surprising, not just because he's not often seen, or maybe even never seen, but, and there's a Geomancer too, so, okay, Slither immediately picks, so that's going to be Fuzi on that Slither. Slither, a favorite hero of Fuzi's, no doubt. He really, really enjoys playing that, plays a lot, and, yeah, there we go, again on the Ravener and Super KG, presumably on that Grinix. So not surprising here, Hellborn lanes are going to be pretty obvious. Suicide, Grinix, Ravener, Torturer middle, so they're solo short, and Ophelia in the woods. Nothing surprising there, and a very strong team in general, particularly in the early mid-game. Silly, Ravener, and Grinix are all very, very powerful at that point. So is Ophelia. When she gets level 7, she gets extremely powerful, having 3 creeps to be able to take over and bringing in a lot to those team fights. So this is a bit of a mid-game oriented Hellborn side, as that's not to say they can't go late either, because of course Slither can definitely do that, and so can Ravener. Grinix not really a late-game hero, but he'll provide enough in the mid-game to help Slither and Rav get to the late. So really the Hellborn team lacking here, I suppose, burst damage. They don't have too much of that. And on the carry front, they're good. On the team fight front, they're okay at best. They have the poison burst from Slither. Ravener can be annoying with his electrical feedback. Grinix's ultimate does a fair bit of damage, and there's the New Earth's Blessing from Ophelia that's rather not painful, but annoying to deal with. I'm just not convinced that it's going to be a ton of team fight. Over here in Legion, you got the Geomancer Crystal Field, the Engineer Ultimate, so that's there's not a team fight here either, but a little more burst damage, I think. So not gonna be lacking here on the Hellborn in terms of burst and team fight, but we'll see what they're able to do. Should be all right in the carry department. They're pretty solid at pushing, and the gank is okay, especially with Grinix and Ravener coming out. Legion side here picks up Midas and Geomancer. So those are things. Midas is actually sent middle. I was figuring this would be a Midas suicide, as he has that elemental warp, which helps him, you know, deal with sticky situations just by teleporting away. But it's looking like an aggressive pseudo triline here, with Parasite in the Hellworn Woods, and Geomancer and Engineer up here. So two things about Geomancer: he's often compared to Magmus for a very good reason. They both have teamfight ultimates that require some time for them to go through. And they both have, like, stuns, you know, that involve them disjointing things and stuff like that. And the big difference really between Magmus and Geomancer is Magmus is a bit better as a team fighter and initiator because his eruption is quite a lot stronger. And actually, so there is going to be solo. It's not going to be solo. He's going to be babysat by this Torture. Dig coming in here, not going to hit Tort, as he will get away. Parasite here looking for something, but not going to find too much. So really the key difference between Magmus and Geomancer is A, Magmus can stun multiple targets with his dig along the course of it. Geomancer can do so, but only if they're standing in one place at the end of the dig. Magmus's ult is a little bit better for team fights just because the crystal field sort of requires lockdown. You have to put it down, and then you have to lock the heroes inside of it because it takes so long for it to actually go off that most heroes can get out of it. Impalement from Torture coming out. Going to harass Parasite of the lane pretty hard here. And the Minotaur will be taken over by Ophelia. There's a dig coming in. Torture's going to hit by that, followed by the K. And we're going to see this is not going to be enough damage. There's actually Geo getting locked down here. This is going to be first blood. So Parasite takes over the Minotaur, but not after it already uses its Stomp. And relatively easy kill there on Geo. So things are already not going so well here for the Legion side. But I was going to say that the advantage that Geomancer does have over Magmus, of course, is that at the early levels, he has enough mana to stun like 3 times. And Magmus certainly does not. At level 1, Magmus can only stun once, and his lobbies are just much, much shorter range than the dig from Geomancer. So already a triple stack pull over here, too. So we'll see what he's able to bring to this fight. I think he's a little underrated in terms of his competitivity just because we never see him, and I think there are certain lineups where he does make sense. But I think most of those lineups would also like to see a Magmus, and perhaps like to see a Magmus a little more. I feel like Geomancer is a little more offensive in general because of his Pit and his Earth's Grasp, doing a fair bit of damage actually. And then of course the Steam Bath from Magmus and the Lava Touch not doing too much in fights. Those are really more defensive and farming mechanisms. So it really depends on exactly how offensive you want to get with this role. And if you want to be fighting a lot, then Geomancer's probably your hero, and if you don't, then Poison's probably going to hit both. Dig coming out, and he will be okay. Going to take a bunch of damage from that poison, but not going to die by any means. So I think Legion side signaling they want to go a little more offensive with this Geomancer, and that backs up the rest of their lineup. You know, you got CD, who is a bit of a mid-game carry, and Midas, who definitely peaks early because his magic damage will be extremely strong in the mid-early game, and then into the mid-game, and then as we get later and later, he's just going to be completely ineffective because even though his stuns are powerful, they're just not going to do enough damage, and they're going to be annoying to get locked down on, but not that big a deal, and then of course Shark and Head start coming out, and he's a totally useless hero. So, Legion side looking for an early advantage here. Going to try to take this probably, I think, in less than half an hour. If they're going to be able to do it, if that's what the timing is going to be. CD going to get jumped on here. Grenix coming with the Rift Stalk. There's a Skeleton King Net, and the attacks. Shadow Steps there as well. This will be dead CD. So, Ophelia making the transition to the bot jungle and managing to grab a Skeleton King and pick off that CD. So that's a pretty big deal. Geomancer coming in here with Parasite. Torch can take a bunch of damage there. And the Earth's Grasp, as he's trying to live, and he will survive. So a pretty huge tower dive coming out there from the Legion side. They don't get anything out of it. And in fact, they will all go back to base. Ravener is up here with a haste rune, looking for something. Not going to find it. So Fuzi on the Slayer already doing very well. 385 gold per minute. Ravener is winning his lane. Grenix is winning his lane. So Remember how he said Legion side is going to try to take this one early? Yeah, this isn't going to help. Already 300 GPM or more on every hero in the lane here for the Hellborn side, and that's a pretty big issue, especially in bot. Poison Spray coming out there, and Geomancer is going to have to use the Dig to get away from Slayer. Geo will head to the observatory here, eat a tree. Probably grab some mana and a health pot. Just a mana pot. So this aggressive pseudo tri-lane not really working out here for the Legion side, as they've managed to secure no kills. They've actually gotten bloodlusted themselves. CD's getting dove once again by Ophelia and Grinix. Will take a health pot there, and actually he might be alright. Juking in the trees. Meanwhile, in mid, actually Ravener getting the pick off there, so let's look at that first. Just ball lightning hits and a couple auto attacks are just enough. Parasite's coming here looking for something, but there will be a kill on the CD, and Parasite will pick off Ophelia, so no, Grinix trying to run away. Nice deny there of the Minotaur. Grinix has a Rift Stalk available, of course, so he will be fine. That ends up being another kill for Hellborn in the middle lane with Rav taking out Midas, and then a 1-for-1 in bot trading Oak for Corrupted Disciple. Certainly a good trade for Hellborn, as they're going to kill their opposing team's carry and lose only their jungler, who is now farming at the same peak as everybody. Jesus. Look at that GPM chart. Everybody on the Legion side under 200 gold per minute, and that's just ugly. Geomancer now in a bit of trouble. Going to take some toxicities here. So there's looking for the poison spray, but Geo will dig himself into the trees. Not really dig, but I guess cut himself into the trees. So there's sees him once again, throwing out some more auto attacks. Dig finally goes out, and he will be able to get away, I think. Yeah, poison spray does not have enough range. So Geo's got boots. And there's a poison spray actually out of Geo, and now he could be in some trouble. Dig already used, but it is available once again. That's the difference between him and Magnus. Magnus would just have to sit in the steam bath there, and Geomancer can actually use the dig to get away. So Slayer pretty much totally dominating this top lane, 380 GPM compared to the Geomancer's 137. In mid, we've got 212 on Midas. Ravener, though, has 287, so that's pretty dominant there. The CS for Midas not bad, 27 and 3, but Ravener's destroying him at 44 and 6, in fact, the highest creep score in the game. On bot, we've got Grinix at 25 and 10 compared to a 21 and 10 CD, so Grinix actually not only having a couple of kills there on CD, but winning the creep battle probably as a result of those kills. As on bot, now he's in some trouble. Parasite is not level 6, there's no silence here. But there was a lot of stuns. He's just going to Rift Stalk away and be totally fine. Rivward actually goes down, and now he's in trouble. There's Urias Grasp, and Kag going to hit, so that's going to be enough to kill him. This KG's like, really? You're bringing 4 heroes down here and a Rivward to kill me? That's fine. But Diesel on that CD gets the kill, so a little bit of gold for him. That's nice. As it looks like Geo and Engineer will stay down here for some reason. 8 minutes in here, and we've got almost 4k gold and just about 3.5k experience here in favor of the Hellborn team, as the Lions are already doing pretty well. Midas up top, gonna eat the poison spray. This top tower's taking a fair bit of damage, so they're gonna take some tower hits himself. Torture will back off a little bit, go to the top, not through no room there. And he already took it, I think. Nope, KG's got it. Yeah, it's illusions. Ballista will spot out, so they're just trying to be sneaky. I think Midas looking for a combo here, and if he gets it, he could kill Slither here. So, yep, that's where it is. One. Now Nua's Blessing coming out, and that's going to save Slither probably, yeah. And now going to return here on the poison damage with Torture as well. There's the chain reactions. And now this is a dead Midas. Yeah. Bot tower does go down as Geomancer and Engineer help CD, but so does mid. Actually, it's just Ravener by himself and his illusions, managing to kill that one. Grinix down here once again. Up top, Geomancer's in some trouble as Ravener's coming around from the side. And possibly looking for a kill here. Almost left his Iron Buckler. So I suspect we're going to see some harass coming out from the Hellborn once this health pod is done by Slither, and then Force Geomancer back, and then Ravener's going to come in from the side and be like, what's up? Actually, Geo digs to the side for reasons, and that's just going to be a death for him. 2 ports coming in here. Midas is one of them, and Parasite the other. So if they can do this once again, force the Legion side back, they can perhaps get Ravener inside, or maybe he'll just run into Parasite, who just Blood Chalice. Nice ball lightning there, and bam! So the Ward of Sight, of course, here, seeing him, and Parasite's like, wait, what? Port away from Midas, and he will be alright. Now Ophelia has 3 creeps, level 7, coming in here for a push. And this top tower should fall. There is some defense being mounted here as Midas is up here, but so is Ravener, Geomancer, and another port coming in. I presume that's Engineer. Yes. Rav's still scouting stuff out. CD's also making his way top, so we're going to see a pretty strong team engagement here. Grenix is going to the side, has a port. We'll see if he engages here. Slither coming in, looking for the Poison Burst, hits everybody, will die here for it, but as a result, they're going to get a clean up here. Corrupted Disciple, actually he's going to live off to the side. Crystal Field goes off and hits Torture, but there goes Geomancer, and Torture survives. Top tower falls. And now Engineer, you're in some trouble. Dodges a Kegstone there, and a couple auto attacks. There it is. Looking for a ball lightning here on Midas. Will not connect. Nice sidestep. So again, tries to line that up, but is not successful. So they trade Fuzi on Slither there for a tower and a couple of kills. Decent trade, I think, for both sides, and that's how far behind Legion is right now. Getting a kill on Fuzi at that 420 gold per minute is that big a deal because, you know, CD and Engineer, they died, but... Or sorry, Geo and Engineer, they died, but they're combined for less farm than Slither has. CD is bought. And it was pretty clear that Fuzi was just like, I'm going to get the Poison Burst on a bunch of people because I'm diving a tower here and I'm running into 4 heroes. And at this point, things are looking a little grim for the Legion side. 8k golden experience down. Grenix and the Dragon Priest into here, looking for some more damage on this tower as it is at half health. Parasite and Engineer are off to the side, though. Skeleton King, Parasite, looking for the net. There it is, and there's the dust as well. Keg will actually not hit as the Shadow Step came in. Chain Reactions hit both, and Grenix will be totally fine. Invis Ravener here. Gonna jump, and so there's here as well. This is a dead Parasite. Ball Lightning comes in, and that's gonna be plain. Turret goes out, looking for a slow there, but now actually Engineer's in a lot of trouble. He's gonna fall here, too. Wards continue to spot him. Oh my god, Poison Spray hits. There's a Keg. Will reveal him. Actually, that hurt him more than anything. And Engie falls. Corrupted Disciple back here, boxed into the woods, has no teleport, and they're gonna find him. Hello! Puts the Electric Tide out, not going to be nearly enough. Chain Reactions and a Shadow Step, and that's a death. So a 12-3 hero kill lead, 13 minutes into this game. We've got 10k golden experience. Hellborn is up. They've taken out all the tier 1 towers. They've lost 1 tower, on bot. They're looking for a secondary tower push here. They have the entire team grouped up. And I'm not really sure if I see a way out of this from the Legion side. Like I said, this is a bit of a mid-game oriented team, especially considering that, you know, Hellborn pretty much have the late game here. With Ravener, and so they're just a little too powerful. As Midas won't be very useful, Geomancer won't be very useful. It's basically going to be the same situation as last game, dual carries versus soul carries, so it doesn't really matter how powerful CD gets. He's just not going to be able to compete with Rav and Slither. And I'm not even sure if they're going to get to that point here, as a base tower is going to fall. Midas jumping in here, but a Newer's Blessing comes out. Actually, Slither's going to be the target, but he's going to be in the middle of the fight, and going to put Poison Burst down, and Energy Field falling, and a whole bunch of heroes are dead there. Both Engineer and Midas are dead. Seal Kid actually gets a kill over there in the back. Sorry, here on CD, and Jesus. Everything died. Geomancer with the dig in on Slither, but why? So we have 14-minute racks here. And good luck in round 8 already called here by the Legion side, so this is going to be, I assume, CC'd in about 30 seconds.
A Legion barracks has been destroyed.
As we're now taking 14-minute racks. And you can just look at the GPM charts here. That's game. So we have hit the 15-minute mark, and I assume this will be CC'd in a matter of seconds. However, I'm going to push mid in here. Going to see a little bit of a defense from the Legion side, but there's the GG well plays and the vote to concede. And that's game. So jump here in the middle actually is they're going through a creep kill team fight, but 2-3 heroes dead. Now CD is going to fall as well. So one last team fight, why not? And everything dies. Lions is just that much better, I think, is the way you explain this game. They massively outplayed their opponents here. The lanes from Legion were a little weird. I think Midas would have been better in that suicide role. Put the dual lane engine Geomancer middle. Or perhaps just don't pick Midas or Geomancer, because I'm not really sure that they have a place in the competitive scene right now. And I think drafting those heroes doesn't really leave you in the most advantageous position when it comes to trying to win a game. But more than that, it's hard to imagine that Lions were ever going to lose this series, and they certainly don't. Much more convincingly in game 2, but you know, really, we fight for 2 bucks showed some interesting stuff in game 2 or game 1. It's too bad they couldn't follow that up in game 2. So, oh well, that's going to be it for this series. Lions takes it 2-0, and let's move on to the next one.